Hi, I'm Steve Ritz, and I'm a science teacher from the South Bronx. And where I teach, kids have no access to locally grown, fresh, and affordable vegetables. My kids didn't even know where vegetables came from. So I started teaching my students how to grow their own food, and they loved it. Before long, we started the Green Bronx Machine, and lo and behold, in the South Bronx, we started a food revolution. Gardeners like these are spreading the word about fresh vegetables and feeding our own community at the same time. Here we are, 30,000 pounds of vegetables later. We've got veggies popping up in every corner of the city. We found out we could grow food almost anywhere. Under bridges, on walls, in classrooms. And look, right here, 4 stories up, we're growing without soil. It's called hydroponics, and not only is it really cool, it's great for the environment. Our kids have learned how to build edible walls. What could be more cool than a wall full of food? Our motto is Si se puede. That means yes, we can. And you can too. Si se puede!
Si se puede. Makes me want to go out and plant something right now.
Those guys are so fired up.
Yeah. So next time you bite into a carrot, remember how much fun it can be to garden in new ways.
It's bound to put a smile on your face when you pass the plate.
Yeah. How cool is that guy? You guys are like, and who are you exactly with the microphone? My name is Peter. I teach history in Washington, D.C. Just by a show of hands, how many out there have ever taught or are still teaching in a school? Just classroom teachers who have ever taught or are still teaching. Wow, awesome. So keep your hand up if you're still teaching, if you're still a classroom teacher. Ah, interesting. Can we clap for you guys just for a second? Can you give it up for all the teachers in the house? Yeah. What's wrong with us? Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we spending our lives like this? So I was invited to come to Big Ideas Fest in 2012, and I was a little hesitant, to be honest with you, because as a teacher, you don't really want to be away from your classroom too much, too often. As you know, if you've ever taught, 5 minutes can be a gut-wrenching experience to step out into the hallway, and you're wondering what's going on inside your classroom. So for 3 days, I was honestly a little bit hesitant, I looked at the list of speakers and was considering whether or not to go, and I saw Stephen Ritz's name on the list of speakers, and I had seen his TED Talk before, and I was inspired by the kind of enthusiasm and vigor and energy that he brings to the table, and so I thought maybe I'd be able to shake his hand and glean some of that energy from him and bring something back to my classroom. But to go away from your classroom for 3 days, you need to. I know who my real bosses are, and they are the young minds who I'm going to face when I get back from this conference that I went to in California, and that I need deliverables, right? I need to bring something back. They need to know that I haven't abandoned them to go watch TV on the couch, and that I need to bring something back that maybe in some way would benefit them. I showed them his TED Talk, and they loved it. And I asked them to write down 2 things that they could, that they would ask him if they could. And there, I'm flipping through the responses on the plane coming to the conference, and there was a theme that started to emerge, which was there were a couple of the same question over and over, and it was, "Can you come to our school to help us build one of those?" And so there I had my marching orders. I knew what my deliverable needed to be. I needed to go find him and ask him that question. And so that's us in 2012, right here at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton here at Big Ideas. And so when I checked into the hotel and kind of came around the corner just over there, what do you know, the first person I see is Stephen Ritz. And so just a quick confession before we go any further. For those 2 minutes of my life, I became a stalker. And the road to rehab has been good, and things are going okay, but for that moment, I was a bona fide creep. So after that, I shook his hand and asked him, I said, "My name is Peter, I'm a history teacher in Washington, D.C. I showed my students your TED Talk. I asked them to write down 2 questions that they would ask you if they could, and they want to know if you would be willing to come to our school to help us build one of those." To which Stephen said,
Sure.
"Sure." To which I said, "Sure? What do you mean, sure? Like, sure, here's my business card. Sure, that would be nice if I did that for you. I'll get back to you." No. So I am eternally grateful that, Steve, you meant what you said. And so there we were. I had my deliverable, and I went back to my classroom and showed them this picture, to which one student said, "Mr. Findler, I didn't know you were so good at Photoshop." I said, "No, that's really me, and that's really him, and he'll be here in Washington, D.C., at American University in March to speak, and he wants to meet all of you. And there was an energy and an enthusiasm and just a feeling in the classroom that day, in all of my classes, that something important was happening. But if you've ever worked in a school, motivation and that kind of feeling, that kind of energy can be fleeting. And there were 3.5 long, cold months between December of 2012 and March of 2013. And so on a cold, rainy morning in March, 8 students decided that they were going to crawl out of bed and join me at the U.S. Green Building Council's event at American University to see Steve speak. And I'll never forget those 8 students for the rest of my teaching career because they formed the backbone of what is now the Environmental Club at our school, which has tripled in size in just a year and a half. And that they knew that motivation and ideas and interesting things can make a difference in the world. So I'll never forget them. But they knew that there was something missing, that motivation and ideas are only one step. So when they saw an opportunity for a community service grant from the Cutter Foundation International, they applied for some funding. And on top of all of the college scholarships they were applying for and their applications and their homework, they spent their nights and weekends writing an incredible grant proposal that won them $10,000 to make this an opportunity of reality. So, yeah. So they are very cool, and I look up to them in a lot of ways. So that's where we're at, and Steve's going to provide a little bit more context about what he does in his community, and we'll tell you about what we did together.
So before I go any further, everyone, a big round of applause for Lisa. I mean, this is like a homecoming for me. So Biff family, holler, make some noise. It's great to be back. Now, some context. When I met Peter, I was working in soil. I was working with high school kids, so it's a little crazy. I've since gone on to do other things, but for those of you who don't know, I am still from the good old South Bronx. I'm not leaving. They're going to bury me there unless I retire here. But a little bit of context about what I do and where I come from. We are right outside my school. 1 block from a strip club, an abandoned lot over there, 2 liquor stores right up the block. Welcome to the neighborhood. I am Dean of Students at a school here in the South Bronx. We're flooded with cheap options. The 99-cent menu here, the 99-cent menu there. Right here on this street, in this very restaurant where my wife and I got the motivation to help change kids' lives. Good morning, everybody. Have a great day. And it starts with classrooms. It starts with education. We're trying to teach kids where their food comes from and how they can grow themselves into a whole new paradigm of health, success, and opportunity. Smells good, right? Smells like plants. Smells healthy.
That is a vertical wall where you could plant vegetables.
Classrooms are changing, kids are changing, waistlines are changing. Block by block, we're changing the way people think about the places they live and what they want to be in life. And for these kids in this community, that's transformational. What are we gonna do with these plans? We're gonna... The eyes of the future are looking back at us, and they're demanding that we get this right. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You're not gonna stop me. Oh no, you're not gonna stop me. So as I have now evolved into El Capitan de los Pollitos, the captain of the crazy little chickens, I'm doing K-12 in elementary schools now because if we paid close attention this morning, we learned that it's easier to raise healthy children than fix broken men. So while I started with high schoolers, I wanted to really get my little guys involved with Peter's kids and come up with some cool technology rooted in my fundamental belief that children should not have to leave their neighborhood to live, learn, and earn in a better one. So my kids and I started practicing random acts of genius, but we also started really addressing some of the realities of our time. The kids are sicker and fatter. So many learning disabled who list disabilities would not be the case if people had access to good prenatal nutrition. The reality of my community is staggering, and as long as they can, the cradle of inequality, I like to say, is the inequality of the cradle. And as long as they keep building me schools right next to stuff like this and giving me lots of playgrounds, I'll have plenty of work to do, and I'm delighted to embrace it. So I'm not going to be safe. I'm going to be equitable. I'm going to be inclusive because, simply put, I am not willing to accept the things I can't change. I'm going to change what I can't accept. And for me, it starts with seeds. I am a farmer, but I'm a people farmer. And in school, I'm planting seeds and growing kids. About my kids, 100% are English language learners, special needs, adjudicated youth of foster care. Some of my classes, more than 50% are homeless. Imagine that. But I believe the Bronx can change attitudes now, and with the help of Peter and with the help of this room and the connections I've made here, we've gone on to do some amazing things. But most importantly, we're sending kids home with happy vegetables, happy families, kids who have no access to local food or how to grow it are now growing it in school. We heard from Grandma this morning. I don't need more police in a neighborhood like mine. I need more grandparents. So if I feed them and bring them to school, that's what we're doing. And this is what I call the new ABCDs, asset-based community development. I have big kids teaching little kids and little kids teaching big kids how to shop, how to be business owners, how to move from being consumers to producers, intergenerationally and interculturally. So I like to say in the South Bronx, we're growing food and we're growing justice, and that's what we do. This was my classroom. How did I translate this into Peter? Well, it was really important for me to come up with kind of better technology because Peter admits he's mentally ill. He's a fan of mine. And that's, that's a dangerous place to go. So for me, the one big lesson I learned is that when you teach children about nature, you teach them to nurture. When I have happy kids like that, I tend to have happier outcomes. So I realized that my kids and I were onto some kind of success. But I wanted to find interesting technology. I say I'm married to my wife and everything else is innovation. And that's why we're here, to innovate, to grow something greater. So I started searching places and looking at all kinds of ways that I could get kids to grow food and create and literally grow something greater. And this is what we came up with.
There is a myth that marginalized communities want cheaper food. No. They want healthy food. Kids are getting fatter. They're getting sicker. I have 200-pound sixth graders. And to me, that's appalling. I can't accept that. It's just not right. Listen, when kids lose weight and they go home and they're bringing food home to their families, and grandparents are getting involved, and parents are getting involved, and people are talking about what's going in their bodies. Plant by plant, classroom by classroom, we're changing outcomes, and we're changing destinies. I have kids who are teachers now. I have kids who are aspiring to things and jobs and places that they've never imagined. That, to me, is exciting. Put a seed in the ground. Put a seed in the ground. It's that simple.
On December 16th of last year, Steve, actually on his birthday, came to Washington, D.C. With 6 bright and eager 4th and 5th graders to teach my juniors and seniors how to put these together, which was an interesting experience for everyone, and really worked out well. And what you're seeing is just an incredible amount of collaboration and teamwork. And it's not just about food, it's about public speaking. These 4th and 5th graders stood in front of 250 high schoolers to explain what was going on and why it was important, and they did an amazing job with that. They went into classrooms in our school to speak about these new tower gardens that were going to be seen all over the school and what they could do with them and why they were important. And we took a trip to Whole Foods, which was an incredible experience. You see here, they're eating pomegranate seeds for the first time, which are amazing and delicious, but these kinds of grocery stores are not as accessible in cities as you might think they are. And it's big kids and little kids getting together and having a lot of fun. And it just was an incredible experience for us and for me and for all of our students. And we managed to have a little bit of fun too. That's a banana phone. And now my students are taking it global. So these are 2 of my students talking about it with a student in Doha, Qatar. And there are just an innumerable amount of opportunities that are available to us through this. And we are eating the produce here that we've grown in my classroom for lunch. And the faculty are starting to take notice at my school. That's the school lunch lettuce on the left and our own homegrown lettuce on the right. And they're saying, wow, Mr. Findler, this is kind of cool. But it all starts, as Steve likes to say, with planting seeds. That's really what it is. We're planting seeds and making sure that these kids grow up to be intentional decision makers and difference makers in their community.
So in the heart of California, here we are today, in a challenged environment to say the least. But my kids came up with this nutty expression with Peter, and they like to say, lettuce, turn up the beat, which I thought was pretty cool. We were marching through Whole Foods saying, lettuce, turn up the beat. And I'm here to encourage you to say, lettuce, turn up the beat. You see, because The power of this room is really, oops, something went wrong. The power of this room is incredible. And since I've been here and the connections I've made through Peter, I want to share with you where I've been able to go and what I've been able to do. Take a look at the map that I've been since here, basically through Biffniks. This is everywhere that we have been, my little 4th and 5th graders and I, changing the world, going international. So first and foremost, a big shout out to QFI. Helping us out because you guys got us started, so I want to say thanks. Remarkably, last month, my kids and I made the front page of El Colombiano. To think that kids from the South Bronx can make the front page of a newspaper in Medellin for something good is remarkable. And if that's not enough, just this morning I learned that I'm a top 50 finalist in the Global Teacher Award. And again, I thank Lisa for that. I thank Randy. I thank Mark for this. There's so much support in this room, so look to your left. Together we can grow something greater. I mean, there's a moral here, people. The power in this room is absolutely incredible. We change lives. That's what we do, and that's what we're here. So seize the moment, collaborate, be bold and audacious. This is the place, and most importantly, people like you for that. Look at me. So, teachers change lives. I want to show you how and show you what my little kids did, and then I have a surprise for Peter that he doesn't know about yet. Who wants to play? All right. You're it. My name is Stephen Ritz, and I am CEO, Chief Eternal Optimist of Bronx County. We're gonna actually grow our own lunch. We're going to grow our own food today. We're gonna go from seed to plate.
A towel garden is like this plant, but you don't need soil. And then the water comes up, and then it comes down and rain on the roots.
Adults think you can't farm in the South Bronx. Tell it to these kids. They're farming. For so many, food is the problem. Yet for all of us, food is a solution. We have some of the highest rates of juvenile diabetes and juvenile obesity in the nation. And we can change that. We absolutely have the power to change schools in this generation. I think I still see the seed.
That happens, exactly.
You mean I can pass it around and they can see the seed in the plant? My job is to teach kids how we can grow food. And I'm asking everyone to roll up their sleeves and get a little dirty and grow something greater.
He lets us plant stuff like salad, cucumbers, tomatoes.
My 4th and 5th graders came into a classroom with no windows to build a tower garden and literally turned it into a farm. And we talked about how healthy food builds healthy minds and healthy bodies, and where are we doing it? Right here in school. So did everybody plant a seed? Yeah! The excitement and the joy that these little kids feel putting a seed in the ground and watching it blossom. OMG, as they say, this is their moment.
I think he cares about us a lot and he wants us to learn and have fun at the same time.
I'm not a farmer, but I'm planting seeds.
He always says, like, seeds are like people because they need love and they grow and grow and grow to be successful people.
To use 21st century technology to generate food and to create this beautiful thing to sit by that you can actually eat is game-changing. It's empowering. They're growing. The plants are growing, and they're responsible for it. And when they know they can grow their own, they really start changing the way they see their relationship to the world and their place in it. That's a big one. Are you gonna eat it? Is it good? I love it. Thank you. We farmed our way smack into the White House, and last year we got invited to the White House. We actually cooked in the White House kitchen, my kids and I. And Peter, I want to invite you to come cook with me and my kids in the projects. We are building the first National Health, Wellness, and Biodiversity Center in the project with the White House chef next month in the Bronx. So I want your kids to come up, and then we're going to come back to you and take you to do the White House egg roll for Easter.
Thank
so
you. They would love that.
You can get in a room like this and think, oh my God, what to do? Or you could be a cynic and sit here and say that it's this. But I'm here to tell you to rethink your thinking, because I do it every day. Be bold and audacious, because opportunity's now here. It's probably to your left and it's probably to your right. So Peter has metrics. I have some too. My kids love me to get likes on Facebook. My kids run the Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter, but if you want to follow my crazy kids on Facebook, they have very big metrics, and I'm having a lot of fun with them with that. This was the State Department that actually came to visit me in the South Bronx, and not to arrest anybody, but to congratulate us, which is is so cool. And imagine, it all starts with planting seeds. So work with little kids. I'm so honored to be using this kind of new technology because it's seamless, and I marry this to Common Core. Listen, I love kids eating healthy, but I want them to pass tests. So this stuff in a classroom, the kids, I have reading to plant programs. I do everything aligned to Common Core. But think about this in the state of California with 90% less space and 90% less water. Look what my older kids are doing. So we are growing our way to a new economy, I like to say. Uh-oh. I'm faster than the machine. But I'll finish on time, Lisa. Don't worry, I promise. So this is 24 days. You can't really see it, but I guess you can. In the South Bronx, growing food. Now, if you don't like lettuce, think money, because my kids sure do. So that's 24-day-old living lettuce. I mean, this is a program that's really taking root. We've got everybody involved. That's Tim Blank, the farmer, so we are really doing things. And I will tell you this, it's when I tell the kids to be quiet, the plants are having sex, you can hear a pin drop. It's amazing. It's remarkable. I'm thrilled to see kids pollinating plants instead of each other. That's the way we really survive in the South Bronx. So we have built our own little Sesame Street in the middle of the South Bronx. But my K-12 model, we are writing a new narrative and creating a new recipe for success in the South Bronx that's rooted in exactly the Action Collab model. Design, build, and transform. Take a big, bold step, everybody, because social sustainability and living wage is at the heart of innovation. We're in a room where together we can all prosper, so take some responsibility. Join us. Look to your left, look to your right. Join us. Win, win, and win. Become a partner. Become a friend. Remarkably, my kids and I are doing projects around the world that are really starting to take some cool notice. How cool is that? So take responsibility and join us. Do something bold. Do something great. If you don't know my story, I'm not a guy who believes in impossible. I believe I'm possible. And 120 pounds later, here I am. And I told my kids one day we'll get to the White House simply by eating the food I grow with kids in school. Our kids are our greatest natural resource, our greatest natural treasure, forgive me. And we owe them the greatest future possible. And while we're focused on the graduation, some of us in 2014 and 2015, guys, look at them. The graduating class of 2015. We owe them the future, you know, and Superman's not coming. But I, me, you, us, we're the ones they're waiting for. And we're able to grow the biggest pumpkins ever right in the middle of the South Bronx. So when I say people, you say power. People? Oh, it switched. People, power, people, partner. Ooh, it switched. Partners, look to your left and look to your right and partner. Take responsibility and join us. Do something great, guys. I come from a place, I mean, we heard about the 5 Keys school this morning, where we have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So if I can, you can, we are Americans. And this is our moment. So seize it, please. For me, asking for permission is begging for denial. But you don't even have to ask here. Just get out there and do it. So no matter what you do, remember that here we are, one planet. Deep inside that thing is some art, so get out there and make it. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, take responsibility and join us. In a dark room, in abandoned windowless classes, I'm growing food with kids. If I can, you can. But no matter what you do, please take time to smell the flowers. Hell, I'm in California. It's beautiful, guys. Thank you very much. God bless you, and it's a pleasure to be here.